Welcome to the Explainer. You know, we use it every single day, right? But how does the internet actually work? Today, we're going to trace that incredible high-speed journey your request takes, all the way from a single click to a whole world of information just popping up on your screen.
I mean, it really does feel like magic, doesn't it? You type in a web address, you hit enter, and poof, a whole universe of information just appears, almost instantly. So what is happening in that split second? Well, it's not magic, but it is a fascinating, super high-speed journey that we're going to trace together step by step.
Okay, so every good story needs its main characters. And for the internet, those characters are the client and the server. Now, the client, that's just you. It's your device, your computer, your phone, and the web browser you're using. It's the one asking for information. And the server, well, that's a powerful computer somewhere out there in the world that stores the website you want to visit, just waiting to, well, serve it up.
Now, to make this whole journey really easy to follow, let's use a simple analogy. Just imagine the internet is this giant sprawling network of roads. Your computer, the client, is your house. And that website you want to visit, that's a shop, the server. This is our starting point for the trip.
So you can't just drive to a shop if you don't know its street address, right? Well, it's the exact same for your computer. It can't find a website without knowing its specific location on the internet. So that's step one on our journey, finding the address.
And this first super important step is handled by something called the Domain Name System, or just DNS for short. Honestly, you can just think of it as the internet's own personal GPS, or navigation system.
And you know what? At its core, DNS is a really simple idea. It's basically a gigantic worldwide address book. Its whole job is to translate those easy-to-remember website names that we humans use into the kinds of addresses that computers actually need. So when you type in a human-friendly name, something like Mozilla.org, the DNS looks it up and finds its computer-friendly address. And that's just a string of numbers called an IP address. That number, that's the server's unique spot on the entire internet. It's how computers find each other directly.
All right, so our browser has the correct address, we know where the shop is. The next step is to actually send a request for the website. But this is where things get really clever. See, the message isn't sent all in one big chunk. Instead, your request, and actually all data sent across the web, gets broken up into thousands of these little bitty chunks called packets. You can think of each packet like a tiny digital envelope. It's got a small piece of the data inside, plus a header on the outside with all the instructions, where it's going, and how it fits into the bigger picture.
But why go to all that trouble? Well, here's a great way to think about it. An analogy from Cloudflare. The Statue of Liberty was way too big to ship from France in one piece, right? So they sent it across the ocean in smaller, more manageable crates, and just reassembled it when it got here. Data on the internet? It works the exact same way.
And doing it this way makes the internet both super efficient and incredibly resilient. See, packets and all take different routes to get to the destination, kind of like cars finding different ways to avoid a traffic jam. And what if one packet gets lost along the way? Hey, no problem. The system just has to resend that one tiny piece, not the whole giant file all over again.
Now, the set of rules that controls this whole process is called TCP/IP. Think of it like a combination of the traffic laws and the postal service for the entire internet. It's what makes sure every single one of those little packets knows exactly where it's going and gets there safely.
Okay, so your request, all neatly broken up into packets, has made its journey across the internet, and it's arrived at the server. The delivery's been made. Now it's the server's turn to do its thing.
Now, for the client and the server to actually understand each other, they've got to speak the same language. And on the web, that language is called HTTP. That stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Your browser sends what's called an HTTP request, which is basically it's saying, hey there, can I please have the files for this web page?
And if the server has all the files and everything looks good, it sends back a success message. It's something you've probably never even seen, but the most common one is a 200 OK status code. That's just the server's way of saying, you got it, here comes your website.
Then the server gets to work. It gathers up all the different parts of the website, the text, the images, all the code, and it does the exact same thing your browser did. It breaks it all down into a bunch of small packets for the return journey, all the way back to you. And here we are, the final step. That whole stream of packets, all the pieces of the website, has just finished its trip across the internet and has arrived back at your device.
So now it's your web browser's job to be like a receiving dock. It's got to catch all of these individual packets as they come in.
And remember, because they might have taken different routes to be more efficient, they could even arrive all out of order.
But hey, that's no problem at all, because using the instructions in each packet's header, your browser knows exactly how to put them all back together in the right order. It's just like finishing a jigsaw puzzle, and in a fraction of a second, it reveals the complete, finished web page right there on your screen.
So let's just do a quick recap of that incredible journey. All in the split second after you hit enter, this whole 5-step dance happens. Your browser gets the address using DNS, it sends its request out in little packets, the server responds with the website's files, also in packets, and finally, your browser puts the puzzle together for you to see. Amazing. And that process, the one we just walked through, that is happening millions of times every single second, all across the globe. That is the internet. It's not one single giant machine somewhere. It's a huge, resilient collection of interconnected networks that have all just agreed to speak the same language so they can share information.
I mean, it's an incredibly elegant system, and it has totally reshaped our world. And when you think about it, when you realize it was all built on this simple idea of a shared journey for information, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What will the next great connection make possible?